Alright, so here will be the review of the CCM Caterpillar 390D LME. ME stands for Mass Excavator, as you can tell. This one features the shorter boom, shorter stick, and much larger bucket. The overall model is spectacular. There are two things that I have to fix on them, and I'm sure other people have and will. Besides that spectacular model, if you've seen my review of the 385 CL that they have, which is the standard excavator version of this, you will know that I will absolutely love that model. This is the same for this one. It's very debatable if I like this one more. I will have other videos comparing the two and versus the two of them, which one to buy if you only have the option of buying one. Luckily, I'm able to buy both of them, and I'm very glad that I did. Anyway, to start off, the overall look of the model, I think that this one looks a lot more balanced in size of boom and everything, but I want to get to the things that I don't like about it, and there's two things that I don't like about it. One thing is the bucket only curls back this far, and it may look good like that, or fairly decent like that, but when you bring the stick back all the way, it's pretty much dumped, and that's curled in all the way. And it's like that because there's this little tab right there, and that could be fixed, of course, and I'm going to do that after I make this review. Another thing is it doesn't raise up very high, as you could tell, and there's also a tab that you could file down like that. Luckily, it's a tab, and you could actually file it down to enough where you want it to curl, where the cylinder won't pop out. But anyway, the undercarriage on the model is awesome. It's my favorite part about it, and I think the best part about it is how wide the pads are. I mean, I'm sure some will say in the comments that the Mass Excavator will be working in rock and a quarry or something like that, but that isn't generally the case all the time, and I'm glad that CCM put that into play when making this model. The tracks roll extremely smooth, and they also have the tensioner. The actual frame of them is fairly detailed. It's nothing too crazy, but the nice thing about it is the rollers up top and the rollers on the bottom, they actually roll, and I think that's definitely really just a lot of thought put into it. Here you can see the tensioner. I wish you could tension it to exactly the way you want it, or you could put a little bit of slack in the tracks. I think that would look cool. There's steps and the drive motor, of course. Now the see them roll very smooth, and that's risking breaking them that much, but I know that they will not break. A very cool feature about it, and since this is a 390 and it's a fairly new excavator, is the fully black cab, and I like that a lot. I think I never really used to like that, but now that I see it on it, I think it separates the cab from the body, and it almost makes it look like a different machine. I really like that a lot. Another cool thing is that you don't really see this on any excavator model, is the door opens, and I think that is just awesome. You can see the seat with the controls. Someone said that it had the safety on it for the controls, that lever. I don't see it. If it has it, it has it, but I don't see it. And it's also got the monitor. That's where you could see everything on the machine, where you could, for the work tools and everything like that. It's got the mirror right there and the wiper right there. One interesting thing about it is it has a cab guard, though it just has a bucket. I still like the cab guard on it. I haven't actually taken it off this version of the model, but I've taken it off my other one. I've put it back on. I think it looks cool on it, even though it is an overhead one. I doubt you'll ever see a Mass Excavator in demolition, but they are seen in demolition, you know, ripping at concrete or whatever. The side of the model features the 390 decal, which I think looks spectacular. I like that extended LME there. I think it looks pretty cool. detailing is flat, which I like a lot too, and the paint isn't too glossy, which I think almost gives it a semi-weathered look. You know, it doesn't really make it look like a model too much. It kind of adds to the realism. Over here, unfortunately, it isn't etched completely through, and there aren't the grips for your feet there, but it's made very nicely. And the vents over here don't go fully through, but at that diameter or that scale of the vents, I don't think that many people would make it go through and actually make it look decent like they do. They added the black paint and it gives it a very nice look. These handrails right here are metal. These aren't, unfortunately, but it is understandable from the angle of them and just you know, how complex it would be to actually cast handrails like that, because it's very easy to complain that they're not metal, and it's pretty hard to make them metal, especially for the price of the model. The counterweight is pretty normal. It has the bolt detail and the big cat logo. Fortunately, it can't come off, but I'll get to that later. The right side of the machine is pretty much the same thing as the CL. Whole body is. But one cool thing is that this door actually opens and it reveals your hydraulic pumps. And this opens right here, and that opens, and then I'll show that once I get to the top in a second. The inside has the hydraulic lines running to the pumps. They are plastic. Now, one thing I want to point out, there is more detail on this model than it looks. Robert Smeller 400 actually took his apart, and there's fans inside on the other side on the vents, which boggles my mind of why they actually put them in there. You could barely tell that they're in there unless you really look hard in there. They're not noticeable or anything, but they did put them in there, so I have to give them that. And here's the air filters. All these handrails right here are metal, and the catwalks, I'm gonna say they're metal, and they're also have the anti-slip texture, as you could hear. The same things go for the other side. Over here you have the ladder to get up and the mirror. Fortunately, they are plastic, so don't put too much pressure on them if you do get it. This is etched out right there, and here are the steps to get up top. Now, looking up top, here's up top. You can see it has a nice amount of detail. I kind of expected more over here. Detail-wise, it kind of just looks like a bunch of stubs. But it does have bolt detail. I have no idea what these things do right here, honestly. And here's the lines that run to the boom. There's the tab that I have to file down a little bit so I could raise the boom a little bit higher. But there is a nice amount of detail right there for the hydraulics. That opens up right there to reveal the engine. I believe it's a C15, I think. I'm not exactly sure. This is etched through over here. It's also very thin, so be careful if you put any pressure on that. Nice thing about it is the counterweight is filled in right there, and the exhaust stack is metal, and it's also hollow. As you can tell, the boom only raises that much. And also, there's no anti-slip texture in there, which is unfortunate. But what I like about this model and why I bought this model is not to see engine detail. I would have bought a model of an engine if I wanted to see that. It's more of the boom, which is my favorite, which we're going to get to now. Here's the cylinders to raise and lower the boom, and they feature all the hydraulic lines running to them. They are flat black, which I like a lot. They're not painted, so you don't have to worry about any paint chipping off the plastic. The inside has the swing motor, and it's kind of hard to see, but there it is right there, and it's got hydraulic lines running to them. The top of the cylinders actually have the bolt detail. I know it's very hard to to see, but if you look closely, you can kind of make them out. It's kind of hard for the camera to pick it up in the glare. Now, coming to the boom, stick and bucket, I think that they did a great job on them. I still have a question about my bucket, and it's actually the teeth on my bucket. I'll get to that in a second. But I like how it's so short, and it just gives a real mean look on it. To me, I don't see too many excavators on, say, development jobs where they're just loading a decent amount of trucks per hour, like off-road trucks. I normally see them load on highway trucks or just, you know, triaxles. So for me to get this model, it's pretty interesting. I never would have thought I would have got it. The cool thing about it, though, as short as the boom and stick is, the bucket still will not hit the tracks. It only hits the tracks when you bring it right there, but that is, you know, acceptable. And the curl of the bucket does kind of suck, but I'll get to how I'm going to fix that in a second. Now, there really aren't that many mass excavators on the market, so if you have the chance, definitely pick this one up. Back of the boom has the lines that run to the top, and it's only got 4, unfortunately, so you can't run a tool off this machine, like a hammer. And yes, there are mass excavators that do run hammers. They don't only bulk dirt. Now they run up to the top over here, and then they lead up here. They got all the lines running into the cylinders, which is, it's very detailed up top here. And this cylinder is also flat black, like all of them on the machine. And I like how they actually made the cylinders the color instead of painted them. Because like I said, you don't have to worry about paint chipping off them. And someone that owns a cylinder like that, that does own a plastic cylinder that is painted, will know what I'm talking about. Here you can see the bolt detail and the detail of the brass hydraulic lines that run over here. I don't know why they didn't make this one come further to like over here, so it wouldn't be such a long line, but you know, whatever, it really doesn't matter to me. The boom has these lights on both sides. Do look a little tacky to me. They're kind of big and everything, but it still gives the model a nice look. The cylinders connect up top here, and the rivets are painted, which is also very nice. Coming to the stick, which the stick is my favorite part. The stick has the little tab on here, which brings the line down over here, and up top, which is a very cool feature, it has the little locking mechanisms for the pins, like on the real machine, which I think looks very cool. The whole look of the boom and stick, they're pretty wide. It's hard to tell, but they're pretty wide, and that gives it a real mean look, which I like about it. Looking at the stick, I believe I believe those are for they're either the grease points or to attach auxiliary lines to it, and I like that a lot. Now, if you turn the machine, the stick is exactly the same on the other side as well with the boom. There's really no difference at all. The way the hydraulic lines connect to the cylinders are, you know, basic. They just connect right there, and then the cylinder runs down here to the bucket, which is huge and massive. And when I first got this, I wasn't sure if I was going to like the large bucket, but I definitely like it a lot. It's nice and wide and deep, which is what I like about it. Now, the bucket, like I showed you before, it comes back very far, but it only comes in that far. And how I'm going to fix that is I'm just going to file the little tab down, and I'll make a video doing that. The linkage is very nice. It has the painted rivets, which is very good. And another good thing about it is it has a little lifting eye on the linkage, and I don't understand why they didn't put that lifting eye on the standard excavator one, because it just has more of a purpose on the standard excavator, where it could be working on a sewer project or a foundation job or any type of job, and plus it has more reach and everything to lift stuff. So why they put it on this one, I don't know. Looks very cool though, can't deny that. Has a little caps on here that would bolt onto the actual pin to hold the pin in. It's got a friction rivet right there, so it makes it look very realistic, and also has the little locking mechanism. The back of the stick actually has the wear plates right here, which I think is awesome, because when you're digging with a mass excavator like this, a lot of the time stuff bangs up against a stick, and that pretty much just protects the stick from denting or possibly even cracking. I think that looks very cool. The bucket itself is very wide. I know it doesn't look big right there, but if you put a model like the PC210 near it, which a decent amount of people own this model, you could see it's it's pretty big, and it's actually almost as wide as the PC210's undercarriage, so you could get an idea of the bucket there. I also like a lot on the bucket how the teeth are spread out. They're not crammed in there like a Scott 320 bucket or something. They're spread out very far, and they're almost like a spade nose, which I think is very cool. It's got the cutting edges on the side, which actually look like if you do go to dig with this thing, it will actually do what it's supposed to. But if you turn the model, and this is where I question this model, the teeth have these little tabs on the end, and I don't know if those are supposed to be there, but if they're not, I guess I was a lucky one to get it. One thing I wish with this bucket, I wish there would have been a little more wear plating on it. The back of it just has, you know, the ridges on it. It very much reminds me of the Scott 5110 bucket. But I do wish that there was a little bit more wear plating. I really can't complain though, because it's huge and it's deep. That pretty much sums up the review, guys. The model is completely different in person than it is online, I have to say. I've been looking at pictures of it ever since I ordered it, because I was pretty excited to get it, and I have to say it's much different when you get it in person than it is online, and I'm sure it'll look, you know, very different in the review. It's much bigger in person, and it's definitely a strict earth moving machine. Now if you compare the two, and I'm gonna have a whole video on this, so just be patient for that one. Here is the standard one compared to the mass excavator, and it's very hard to tell, which is I still don't know how I'm gonna make the video, but if we put them like so, you can kind of see the difference, but I don't want to give too much away until the video. But hope you liked the review, guys. There's only 1,000 of these made. I got this one for 250 bucks, which I thought was low because I've seen them for like 270. You know, it's not a lot of money off, but it's enough money to where you could put the money towards overnight shipping. I should have got overnight shipping on it. I wasn't really that excited to get it until this morning when I knew it was coming. But hope you liked the review, guys. Definitely get one if you don't have one. Mine is serial number 897. I seem to get the later models. Like I said, I really don't care for the later. But definitely get one if you don't have it. It's a lot different than the CL. And hope you enjoyed the review.